Oh, is there a better sound in the world than that?
Well, maybe not for you this morning.
Yeah, that probably felt like a metal spike right through your frontal lobe. But that's okay. That's called tough love. And that's what your Uncle Dave and I are here for.
That's
It's time for the weekend edition, your favorite politically incorrect pop culture commentary podcast.
That's right. Sports Frenzy 2.0 is back, baby.
And of course,
You know what you need to do. Bacon, eggs, coffee, water, aspirin.
that covers it. That really covers it. Now, I don't know what you did last night. There wasn't really a holiday. Maybe you're suffering from football withdrawals like we all are. But we all know the typical pattern. You drank too much, you thought the hot chick at the end of the bar was into you, and you were wrong. We've all been there, we've all done that. But again, we're therapy. We're here to nurse you through this tough time, get you through the rest of the weekend, get you to work on Monday morning, and then you can fuck it all up again next Friday night, and we'll be here again.
Now we know Saturday night tonight you're going to do it all again, but we can't help you. You're on your own.
Yes. So what do we always start off with, Dave?
Music! Because it's about the rock and roll, baby.
Get these people through this tough time.
The doldrums of winter.
Yes. Yeah, that of course we have to deal with as well. Because I think we've had snow here outside of the Sports Frenzy studios every day for the past 10 days.
And another supposed lake effect snowstorm hitting tonight.
I don't want to hear anybody
as we record.
Anybody tell me this was a mild winter. Because this February has sucked balls.
It hasn't been horrendous.
Oh, no, it's not the winter of 79, but it still sucks. This has been the worst month in terms of snowfall I have seen in at least 5 years. Dispute me. Go ahead and dispute me, bald man. I'm telling you.
We've had snow on the ground longer than we've had in a while.
Thank
yes.
you. I'll take that as I agree with you, Kevin. You are smart beyond all belief.
In your own mind.
All right, we got 2 songs to review this week. And then a special announcement about next week's music segment.
We teased it a couple weeks ago last week. We've been talking about it.
Yep.
It will get unveiled. But first,
pick a song. You pick a song.
Let's go alphabetical order.
Okay. So that means we're going with the Canadian Wonder?
Yes.
Do we need to boo him? Boo!
No, we're not booing Bryan Adams.
No. Of course, this is a sports thing with the hockey stuff, but no, we love Bryan Adams. He should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
He should be. Very deserving.
Yes.
Maybe they're holding that whole everything I do against him like we are.
Yeah, I know we are. I know we are. The minute he did that fucking Robin Hood song.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, he lost a lot of credibility in my eyes with that Robin Hood song. He did. I don't know how you could find a way to possibly negate 2 classic albums like Cuts Like a Knife and Reckless, but he almost did.
With one song.
Yep. But he is back. Bryan Adams is back with a new album coming out at some point in 2025. The title track is out now. Roll with the Punches.
I like it. It goes back to classic Bryan Adams from Cuts Like a Knife and Reckless. It's got that good rockin' vibe, good guitar, good lyrics.
I liked it. Don't know if I liked it as much as you. I still think it was a little generic. I did like the breakdown at the end where they start picking up the pace.
Yeah.
Let me do a little aside here, because you and I over the last couple months have been going back and forth and fighting. Not us, but together we've been fighting about this 2.5 rating.
Yes.
I think from now on, I think the solution is you can rate something 2.5, but it has to be a weak 2.5 or a strong 2.5. So if it's a weak 2.5, it's a marginal pass. If it's a strong 2.5, it's a marginal recommendation.
Okay.
And why am I bringing this up now? Because that's where I'm going to go with Bryan Adams.
You're going.
I am going with the just barely passing on it. The weak 2.5.
See, I'm going week 3.
I wanted to like it more. I really did. And I've listened to it, but it doesn't bring anything new to the table for me.
Well, there you go. I can understand that.
I didn't hate it.
I found it a catchy little ditty.
So I give it a barely can't recommend it. A week 2.5.
All right. Well, I'd give it a week 3. Then we move on. L.A. Guns. New album coming out at some point.
Leopard Skin. Yep, that's coming out April the 4th, I believe.
Yep. So we have their first song released, Taste It.
Now, this is my type of song. Because it's grungy, nasty, oily, dirty. It doesn't necessarily have a strict... It's not... It moves all over the place. It has a hook. It has a chorus. But otherwise, it's just a bar band kind of being nasty and talking about oral sex, which I just love.
Oh, there you go. I wasn't wild about the vocals on it.
I can see that.
I can see for me. I had some issues with it.
I can see that.
So I think we're kind of opposite
on these two
on
songs.
these two.
Yeah, the more I listen to this song, the more I like it. And again, like I said, I like songs that sometimes stray away from formula. And I felt like that's what Taste It was. Here was that it's just kind of a free-form, messy, nasty.
Yeah, I wanted, like you would roll with the punches, I wanted to like this more.
Mm-hmm.
But it just did not hit for me.
So we're probably going to be the exact opposite on ratings. Close.
Pretty close.
So I will give Taste It a week 3.
And I was going to, if we have to do, I will have to go week 2.5.
See, there you go.
So.
Yep. But yeah, nothing better than a song about oral sex.
It's good.
I love the way you taste below. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just, something with the vocals just didn't work for me with this one.
And I get that. It took a little bit of time for me to get into the song more.
Over and over and take a break and play it a couple more times. And it still just, I really wanted to like it more.
And I did. So.
There we go.
Yep. But I understand your criticism. I do. The vocals are probably, to me, the weakest part of the song.
Yeah. All right. Sad music news. I don't know if you've heard, Brian Setzer is dealing with an autoimmune disease, unable to play the guitar right now.
Yeah, he's trying to fight back from it. I did hear that, which kind of pisses me off that we didn't go out and see the Stray Cats last year.
I know. We probably should have.
Should have made a better effort to see him. His last solo album was so good. Yeah. So good.
So here's hoping he can come back from it as he just recently had posted an update that he's now at least able to tie his shoes and do different things with his fingers, but he said playing guitar is still, it's like I'm wearing gloves. and
Yep.
that's cumbersome, which sucks for such a good guitarist.
Yeah, unbelievable guitarist, and maybe somebody that I kind of feel bad I've kind of overlooked over the years,
Yeah.
even though I have touted a lot of his solo work, but I think when he was at the Stray Cats, I really, really overlooked him.
Yeah.
And with the Brian Setzer Orchestra, because they were doing, to me, that was a little bit gimmicky.
Yeah, they were trying to pull a little too much
The old
of
school
everything
boogie woogie
in.
type stuff, and
Yeah.
but his solo work, when he
stuff-
just focuses on straight on rock and roll rockabilly stuff, he is tremendous.
Is unbelievable.
Yep. So, you want more bad news?
No, but tell us anyway.
So far in the fan voting for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Phish is absolutely destroying everybody.
Why?
They've got almost double what Billy Idol has got in second place.
Oh my God, Phish sucks.
I hate all of you fucking hippie, goddamn pot-smoking assholes. That's what I hate. We all don't want your jam band bullshit.
Ugh.
Especially Dave.
I hate jam bands.
Because at least I tolerate the Dave Matthews Band.
I can't tolerate any of it.
But this is the problem. Even though this vote matters next to nothing.
It's still disturbing on too many levels.
Yes. Yeah, the fact that there's so many people out there, oh, Phish is so good. No!
Just take your nitrous balloons and go away.
If are we gonna do this by popularity, or are we gonna do it by sales, or are we gonna do it by critical acclaim? Because I don't know anymore. I don't know anymore.
Nothing.
What the hell does Phish have above Styx and Iron Maiden and Soundgarden? Please explain to me. I would love somebody to explain to me musical merits, critical acclaim, sales. They lose out on all three fronts. How the fuck does Phish have this kind of following?
It's a live experience, man.
I swear to God, I'm going to punch myself in the face if they get in before Styx. That's just not right. That is just not right. But then again,
look what all is
that
in there.
It will lead you down roads you don't want. Like, I literally today started thinking about who would I rather have in the Hall of Fame, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Sheryl Crow or Cyndi Lauper? And then I looked at myself in the mirror and said,
what the hell are you talking about?
You need a life, man. Neither. And Sheryl Crow is already in. That's what's sick. That's what got me on that tangent, was kick Sheryl Crow out, put Cyndi Lauper in. I can't take it. All right, let's do some TV and streaming. Then we'll do some news, and Dave will have some book reviews for you.
Not one, but two. Ho, 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 ho.
All right, so just to ease the tension so you kids aren't expecting it, Dave and I did not partake of the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary, so we're not talking about that. We're not reviewing it. We're not doing that.
Nope.
So
sorry, they have lost me over the last 18 years.
I think that's about right. Yeah. 15 to 18 years.
Yeah, the last full episode, actually the last episode I watched was a few years ago for Eddie Murphy's return.
Yeah. And the only sketch I've watched, which I have watched on repeat, was the Ryan Gosling Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
But
otherwise,
I'm with you 100%. No. And then when I heard they were doing a red carpet, I'm like, oh, come on. You self-important douchebags. Really? A red carpet? Then I heard Dan Aykroyd wasn't there. So
why?
Yeah,
why?
I heard the Black Jeopardy sketch was offensive. Because, again, they got too far into the politics.
Of course they did.
Which is what they do now. So anyway, Dave and I will focus on the TV shows that we love here in TV and streaming. Which means the return of Tracker.
Yes, finally.
Second season, episode 9. Now, supposedly they're doing a full season. So that
they got some making up.
I was going to say that means they've
got a long ass run coming.
That means they're going to have new episodes every week until May.
Yeah.
To get us to a 22, 23 episode
seriously,
season.
You've got March Madness on CBS, which is going to fuck all that up too.
Yeah, so
they're going to have to go into June.
There's no way they're going to be able to do a full 22, 23 episode season.
Unless they're going to have it after the Sunday games.
Boy, I don't know. Because they go to the West Coast usually, and those games run till midnight. At least the first weekend. I don't know. I don't have any faith in the networks and when they promise something. So anyway, episode 9 of season 2 this past Sunday, as we get Coulter Shaw back, trying to
finally find the resolution to the one case that's haunted him, which they started this second season with.
Which would involve, of course, the missing sister of his girlfriend that we didn't know about.
Ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call her ex. They seem like they were still pretty chummy.
Yeah.
But, yes, and this all revolved around the teacher.
A disturbing character. A master manipulator.
Yep, and his disciples and how they would kidnap young girls.
To bring to the teacher.
You and I agreed on this.
Yeah.
We discussed this before getting into the podcast.
One of our few pre-show discussions.
Yep. Because we usually like to be spontaneous.
Yep, but this is one where I'm like, halfway through, I told Kev, I said, halfway through, I'm like, this better be resolved in this episode. I do not want it to drag out any longer. That would be absolutely a pathetic cop-out.
Yeah, and one of the great appealing things about Tracker for me, because I really don't watch network TV anymore at all because it has gone so far away from its glory days in the 70s and the 80s, is that Tracker harkens back to those old school detective shows of the 70s where it was a new episode, a new case every week.
You got the resolution and moved on.
Yep. Now, I talked about how bizarre it was here thinking about different shows that came up to me. Miami Vice popped into my head for some reason when it came to Tracker.
Oh, with the one or two where they had the lingering.
Miami Vice was my favorite show of all time, and what it was Calderon was always lurking in the background. Calderon was the big drug lord that was always tormenting Sonny Crockett, and that was fine. But it wasn't a continuing storyline. It would pop up once in a while. The thing that made Miami Vice jump the shark was when they had the continuing storyline. I believe it was the end of season 4 into season 5 when Crockett got concussed and he thought he was his alter ego, Sonny Burnett.
Yeah, that was bad.
And they carried that on for multiple episodes.
Way too damn long.
And I was like, I just missed the old Miami Vice where it was one crime, one story every week, done ridiculously well.
Yeah.
And so that's why, again, I agreed with you that don't do this with Tracker. Don't do this with Tracker. Let's move on from this. Don't make this teacher storyline go on and on and on.
And thankfully, it was resolved.
Now, I did pose to you that there is a way that they could continue this at some point.
They could, but I don't see it happening.
No, they actually had a nice
tied
resolution.
This up very well.
Yes. So, no, next Sunday here tomorrow night for you kids listening here on the 22nd. Hopefully we get back into the pattern of one episode, one case, solve it, and he moves on. Takes his Airstream and drags it on to somewhere else.
That's the way we like it.
Now,
all right.
Of course, I started watching, didn't finish the first episode, but started watching The White Lotus, Season 3. Got about halfway through the first episode. Of course, with the great Walton Goggins in it. I can already tell his character is going to be trouble.
What? Walter Goggins playing a troublemaker? No.
And then, of course, it's got the gorgeous Michelle Monaghan, who I love. Ever since she played Angie Gennaro in Gone Baby Gone. Of course, that's a series that I missed that I wish Dennis Lehane that I wish Dennis Lehane would have picked back up again. Only 5 books in the series?
And he's gone off on some odd tangents.
Yeah. And he's such a great writer, but yeah, he gave up on that series way too soon.
Way too soon.
Yeah. And that, by the way, one of the greatest movies of all time. Ben Affleck deserves a lot of credit for that movie with his brother and with Monaghan.
Yep, with Casey Affleck and Monaghan playing the title characters. Oh.
Yep. If that ending in that movie does not break your heart, you're not human.
Yeah.
But we'll see where The White Lotus goes. It starts off just like the first 2 seasons where you get something right away. Tragic, violent, a mystery. And then they go, 1 week earlier, they take you back in time. Yep. Yeah, they take you back in time, and then they set everything up.
And you gotta see if you can figure it out.
Yep. So, I will give my daughter credit for getting me into The White Lotus. It's interesting. It is very interesting.
At some point, I may just have to say,
you and Mrs. C. You and Mrs. C.
I can't get her to sit down and commit to anything.
Landman?
Oh my God.
Which, by the way, I might have to review in a couple weeks.
Yes,
kids.
you may have to, because unfortunately I'm hosed on this one.
But that brings us to a review that we actually can both give you this week, as I finally caught up.
Yep, Dwight Manfredi, Sylvester Stallone's character in Tulsa King.
Yep.
New York mobster, released from prison, sent out to Tulsa, Oklahoma to set up shop. And he gives a big FU to his former crew for abandoning him and treating him like garbage.
And so now season 2 follows up on all that, as Dwight Manfredi has established himself in Tulsa and now has to deal with a rival faction from Kansas City, led by the great Frank Grillo. I love Frank Grillo.
Oh, Frank Grillo in this is great.
Yep. And then, of course, he's still got to deal with the New York ramifications. So he basically got this 3-headed monster, and then we're not even counting the triad.
Right, and the rival
Thresher
and his triad screw up.
Yep.
Got in bed with the wrong group.
Yep.
There's a lot going on this season.
Yep, and of course, Dwight's girlfriend gets caught in the middle. One of his old friends from New York gets caught in the middle. Almost makes a very, very critical, deadly mistake.
Yeah.
I will tell you this. Two things. Number one, this is where I say fuck you to all the critics. And I said this about a month ago. You were off one of your 47 vacation days of the year, but when I reviewed Den of Thieves, the original Den of Thieves,
Yeah.
I praised up and down, left and right, and I didn't care who wants to judge me for it or not. Gerard Butler was phenomenal in Den of Thieves. I literally could. He's this grungy, down and dirty cop, and I could literally smell the cigarette smoke and the stink of the prostitutes coming off of him. He was so good playing the role. That's why I can't wait to watch Den of Thieves 2 Pantera to see where he takes that character. And I feel, in a way, the same way about Stallone in Tulsa King. Why isn't he getting more credit for being a great actor than he gets?
Because nobody has ever taken him seriously is the problem.
There's probably dozens and dozens and dozens of people out there listening right now go, it's Stallone, how can you say he's a good actor?
Because he is a good actor.
Jesus Christ, he is so overlooked. And going back to Rocky, if you've watched Nighthawks, if you watch Copland, he is a good actor. He's a smart
Oscar.
One of the most underrated, overlooked comedies of all time.
That was brilliant. Marissa Tomei.
He never gets the credit he deserves.
He doesn't.
Oh
my God.
Everybody goes, he played Rambo.
So what? He played it brilliantly.
But they overlook the nuances of all these other roles that he's taken on. Again, going all the way back to Rocky.
Tango and Cash. Come on.
So that's number one. Stallone, criminally underrated. I was mesmerized by him in season 2. I was just like transfixed. His facial expressions, the way he delivers the lines,
emotion that
what he's going through. Again, he's got his girlfriend caught in the middle. He has to make a heartbreaking decision again about his daughter and his grandkids.
And he's got to try
He keeps putting his friends through the ringer over and over again, asking them to bear with me, have faith, I will get us through this. Now, my other part, I think they should have ended it with episode 9. Now, I know there's 2 more seasons coming. I thought episode 10 was a little bit of a cheap extension to try to give us a cliffhanger that came out of nowhere that I don't think... It was awkward. It was
a very awkward cliffhanger. There was no reason for it.
Exactly.
There was what?
Exactly.
A 2-second setup for it?
Yeah. Yep. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Where is this coming from?
The whole purpose of it is to set up somebody who I don't think they've even cast yet as the next big star for season 3.
Yeah,
you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The shadowy figure at the end.
Yeah.
They're going to somehow come up with a big cast member, a new addition for season 3.
I don't like the way they went, the direction it's taken there.
Yeah. It was a little quick and dirty with the resolution between the New York, Kansas City situation. I liked it. Don't get me wrong.
It needed to be done.
It did. But it seemed like it was a little quick and dirty. I would have liked to have seen that drawn out a little bit more in season 3 before that happened.
Right.
It did end the way it should have.
Exactly.
It did. I was happy with the resolution, but it just seemed that came out of nowhere to me kind of as well.
I kind of expected something like that, but I thought it was going to drag a little longer.
Yes.
It's exactly... What happened is exactly what I expected, just much sooner.
Yes. So, and again, we're trying to be a little vague and not spoil things for you, because, of course, Tulsa King Season 2 just wrapped up late fall of last year. So there's still a chance that maybe some of you out there haven't watched it yet. But again,
and it's still going
Stallone,
to be 2 years before we get 3.
I'm telling you, I still think they are on a quicker schedule with
I
Tulsa
would
King.
hope so.
But you know,
But who
6
knows?
months from now,
But Tyler Sheridan is so schizophrenic because he's running everything on Paramount right now.
yeah, he is. He is. Every show, every new show, is
Freaking
basically
everything
his.
is Tyler Sheridan.
Yeah, which means, by the way, at some point, Dave and I will review Mayor of Kingstown, along with Landman.
Yes.
I don't know if we'll ever get around to Lioness, but who knows?
Too many choices.
Hey, I would love to be as prolific and creative as he is, and have all these shows
Carte blanche to do
well,
it.
and have all these shows be greenlit and successful and popular like they are. People seem to love his storytelling, so there you go.
No denying that.
Yep. But season 2 of Tulsa King. Boy, it's hard. I've got to give it. I'll give it a week 3.5.
Right where I'm at with it.
Yep.
Just because of
the
last
way episode.
Just because of the last episode took it to. It was frustrating.
It felt cobbled together, rushed. It felt like a bunch of pieces that could have waited for season 3.
They could have given one more episode before they got to that point to set up the ending.
Yeah, I could see that.
One more episode, then you would have had the resolution make a little more sense. One more episode.
I think you had enough of a cliffhanger with what they had at the end of season 9.
Yeah.
Where you had New York coming in to try to
one last
do something,
effort.
whether you trusted them or not. You know, you got the power play going in New York with Vince trying to take over
from Chicky, push Chicky aside.
And Chicky's coming in to try to negotiate something maybe between Kansas City and Tulsa. I think that was enough.
That would have been
You didn't have to come up with this ridiculous forced cliffhanger and then rush that conclusion as well.
But they should have ended it there. But if they wanted this conclusion for the storyline for season 3, one more episode for the setup would have been much better.
Yeah, we need a little bit more to explain what the hell
fuck is going on.
That last couple minutes
Yeah.
of episode 10 was.
Where the hell did that come from?
Yeah. No, completely agree. But still, everything else, extremely
very
strong.
good. Love the cast.
Absolutely. Love it. Garrett Hedlund taking over the car dealership. And then we had the tragic issue, almost tragic issue, with the father.
Yeah. It's so good.
Yep. Very, very good. And the thing about, we go back to Taylor Sheridan for a second. Taylor Sheridan does a good job, even though his stories are all set roughly in the West. I don't know about Mayor of Kingstown. Looks like that's back east.
Yeah.
So maybe he's got enough nuance to change the settings, change everything. But he does alter the stories enough to make all these shows different and interesting. I know you're not a Yellowstone guy like I was. And I will admit, Yellowstone did wear down after a while. And then when Costner left, that was kind of like the nail in the coffin.
Yeah. It had that feel that this is going to be a repetitive family drama.
And that's kind of what it was. Yeah. It did wear down at the end. Rip was just... Cole Hauser's just unbelievable, though. He's worth watching the show for. But yeah, they did... The last 2 seasons, I would say, stretched things out too much. Too many long shots of scenery and cow wrangling and...
Stuff you don't need. Yeah, filler crap.
No shots of Kelly Riley's boobs. Come on.
How can you have have an episode without those.
That's wrong because they're real and they're spectacular. But yeah, he does a great job. He does a great job in telling a story, and he does a great job of when he doesn't have the time, because obviously he can't do everything for every show, passing the buck along to people who know what they're doing to continue the momentum for these shows.
Yep.
And maybe in 2026, when you get to watch Landman, we can discuss that.
Potentially we could. So, another show that I just started, you're getting ready to start, finally, Dark Winds.
Yes,
we are. Horn and Chi.
Yep, we're going to finally dive into Dark Winds, which of course is just getting ready to start season 3.
Yeah, this is one we've been wanting to, and we just had not gotten around to.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, the Tony Hillerman series, there was a previous adaptation on, I want to say PBS?
I think
years and years ago. We could be going 15, 20 years back. But I love that back. I remember Adam Beach starred in that one back then. But the cast I've seen so far in this looks really good.
This is a good cast.
We're going to start digging into this, catch up on that. So.
And this one's produced. Robert Redford is one of the producers.
Yeah, I can see that. Robert Redford has a lot to do with the Native American culture and those type of productions, so doesn't shock me a bit. All right, a little bit of news before we get on to the book reviews. I have already expressed my disdain. I believe this was in the sports edition earlier this week about the ongoing wars between the content producers and the streaming services, where I was getting a little bit pissed off as I get emails from YouTube TV telling me that, unfortunately, when you turn on your TV on the 14th, on Valentine's Day, you might not have, about 23 networks, because we haven't been able to come to an agreement with CBS and Paramount.
Blah, 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 blah.
But YouTube TV says, we'll give you an $8 credit.
Ooh.
So you can go sign up for Paramount Plus. That's not even close to covering all the channels that I would miss. Luckily, the idiots came to some sort of a resolution, a short-term one at first, and then finally a long-term one.
Convenient, but I was approaching March Madness, isn't it?
Yes, March Madness and the Masters.
And the Masters, too, yes.
But I've already gone on a rant about YouTube TV. They've already increased their rates over the last couple years from the mid-$60 range up to the mid-$80 range. So I don't want to hear any more bullshit from YouTube TV. I'm about done with them. They can sit there and go, we got the unlimited DVR. Nobody else has that. What good does it do me if you keep taking channels away? A couple years ago, you took away MLB Network, which pissed me off beyond belief. Now this crap.
You increased to take on Sunday Ticket.
That was the big thing.
Which nobody really fucking wants anyway.
Why do I have to pay for Sunday Ticket when I don't sign up for Sunday Ticket? You made that choice, not me. You should not penalize your other subscribers who don't want Sunday Ticket because you decided to get in bed with the NFL for the NFL Sunday Ticket. But that's goddamn exactly what you're doing. Just like Netflix. Netflix signs on with the NFL and the WWE, so they start jacking prices. Stop charging people for shit they never asked for. You know what that's called? Cable television. And I thought that's what we were trying to get away from. The cable television model is what everybody hates. And what everybody doesn't
And
want.
that's what the streaming services are starting to do all over again.
They're in collusion, all Sling, DirecTV stream. Now they all cost the same.
Convenient, isn't it?
Next week, Dave and I will be reviewing a movie together for the first time in a while. Nosferatu. Why? Because as you're listening to this right now on the 22nd, Nosferatu is available on Peacock.
Another fucking streaming service.
I don't know if you should get mad at them for having Nosferatu.
No, I'm just pissed at streaming services in general.
I have a question for you. We're going to have a little fun here with this one. Because this is another streaming thing. And this is, again, Peacock. Now...
And you know where you can find rants about streaming? On Spotify, Good Pods, Pocket Casts, Apple Overcast, Castbox, Amazon, Audible, and iHeart Sports Frenzy, baby.
Also known as iHeartRadio. Nice way to work that in.
I thought you might like that one.
Don't forget to check out the Facebook page, and I'm mad because I did not tell everybody on the Sports Edition.
The Facebook page? They've been listening long enough, they should know.
Check out for the NASCAR picks. But, okay, Nosferatu is, as you listen to this, is already out on Peacock. On March the 21st, here's where I'm going to give Dave...
A conniption?
Yeah.
Aneurysm?
Yeah. March the 21st on Peacock, Wicked will drop on Peacock. Now, here's my question.
Who cares?
Here's my question.
Who fucking cares?
Here's my question for Dave. I thought about this today. If you had to, you have to. And don't give me one of your bullshit conquistador, I don't have to do anything. You have to. Wicked or Avatar? You have to watch one. Which one are you watching? If you haven't figured out by now, kids, over the years, Dave and I are boycotting Avatar.
You're getting ready to have a Scanners moment here.
See? You can't do this! You can't do this!
Wicked!
Are you fucking kidding me? You would rather watch Wicked than Avatar?
Yes. It's not as long.
Oh my God, there's no way in hell.
And I've seen the stage.
I'd rather watch
I've seen
Avatar.
the stage play.
I'd
Wicked.
rather watch Avatar. Okay, one more. So you go with Wicked. All right, so how should I phrase this? All right, so would you rather watch Avatar or Barbie?
Barbie.
Oh my God, you really hate Avatar more than I do, even. You would watch Wicked and Barbie more than you would watch Avatar.
Yes.
Wow. See, I would put Avatar above both of them.
Fuck Avatar.
God. Oh.
Hey, at least
I thought I knew you.
At least Barbie's got Gosling. Come on.
Yeah, but it's supposedly man-hating bullshit.
I'm not gonna watch Blue People.
You're racist.
That's right.
Speaking of Blue People,
The Smurfs get a live action.
well, there's a Smurfs movie coming out this summer. But, no, we talked about the demise of, not a show you and I would, not one of the most offensive shows, not a show you and I watch, but I think we would have a modicum of respect for it, was Blue Bloods.
Yes. Tom Selleck led.
Yes. And there was some dispute, some debate about why are they ending Blue Bloods?
Still
Popular,
getting decent
yep.
ratings.
So, who knows? Was there ageism involved?
Would
they
it surprise me? No.
Tom Selleck too old? Well, now we're getting Boston Blue.
Yeah.
Boston Blue has been ordered by CBS, which will star Donnie Wahlberg. Of course, his character from Blue Bloods, which kind of further maybe cements what we were just talking about.
The ageism?
Yeah. Which is odd coming from CBS, which is the network for old folks.
Matlock.
Yeah. Marvel Studios, as much as I have learned to hate them over the last few years, since they have been acquired by the Rat, something very intriguing came out here the other day.
The disdain people have for the new Captain America movie.
Oh no, that's a given. That's a given. No, we've got Daredevil coming out here very, very soon, starting up, which I'm looking forward to. I've got to watch season 3 though. To lead.
You haven't seen season 3 yet,
I have not
dude.
watched 3 yet.
You're killing me.
So I've got to watch 3 real quick before season 4 starts. Daredevil Born Again. But because the advance hype, the excitement that's building for Daredevil Born Again is so huge, of course.
Disney's jacking up the prices again?
No, Disney and Marvel are like, oh, geez, what the I didn't understand. What do you mean that Netflix stuff we did was really popular?
You think?
Now they're saying we might actually bring back all of the old Netflix series new seasons.
Oh, so we'll get Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and Iron Fist?
Yes. They're talking about bringing all of them back.
Are they going to have the edge that they did?
Well, supposedly the new Daredevil does.
And does that mean we are getting a standalone Punisher?
No.
No,
they won't. You know how they feel about the Punisher. The fact that he's actually in Daredevil Born Again shocks me.
If you are going to do this set right, Frank Castle needs his own series again.
And you know they don't like the Punisher because he's considered a right-wing icon.
And you know what? Suck it. If you want people to tune in, that's what you have to do.
He is arguably one of the most popular anti-hero superheroes
of all time.
Yes. And John Bernthal has done an amazing job portraying him.
John Bernthal is brilliant as Frank Castle.
There's a good segue to our trailers for the week. The Accountant 2. Have you seen the trailer for this?
I have not seen the trailer yet.
It looks like the Accountant and the Punisher team up. Because John Bernthal, of course, going back to the first movie, is the Accountant's brother. So
there we go.
You still haven't watched the first one, have you?
I have not. Another streaming show that I've got to start just dropped. Night Agent Season 2.
You're doing a great job helping me out here because we'll come back to the trailers in a second, but since you brought up the Night Agent, I am going to tell you about my Clint Eastwood Badass of the Week, which is one Gabriel Basso, who is the star of The Night Agent. And even though, very good looking guy, chicks swoon for him, guys want to be him, he's one of these few guys in Hollywood that gets it. Asked recently, I love responses to these questions about what do you feel celebrities and Hollywood actors and actresses, what do you feel their part in politics should be?
Nothing.
Gabriel Basso said this: we are nothing but jesters, court jesters. Be a jester, then shut the fuck up.
Yes, he gets it. Good for him. Shut up and entertain me.
Exactly. That's basically what he said, as you've always said. Yep. So kudos to Gabriel Basso, the star of The Night Agent. And that's another show that I do want to start watching.
I really enjoyed season 1. I'm looking forward to season 2.
Yep. Other trailers, going back to the trailers, that I think we would be interested in. Freaky Tales. Have you heard about Freaky Tales?
I have not.
Freaky Tales. Now, I've got my issues with Pedro Pascal. And how he did not shave the mustache.
To be Reed Richards.
So that's one strike against the new Fantastic Four. And one strike against him. I guess 2 strikes because that bullshit.
Stupid Last of Us crap.
Woke HBO zombie crap. But he's in Freaky Tales and looks good. Freaky Tales takes us back a couple decades to Oakland, California for an anthology series.
Kind of along the lines of Cat's Eye and...
Well, this is more crime and martial arts type stuff. So, a little bit of the Warriors in there.
Okay.
So, remember Sleepy Floyd, the basketball player? Eric Sleepy Floyd?
Vaguely.
Somehow, someway, they have worked him in when he played for the Golden State Warriors. And he is in this... It's not him, it's an actor, of course, playing him. But the character of Sleepy Floyd has got a stash of rare artifacts in his home, in his safe. And so criminals try to break in. This is one of the stories. And he shows up with a samurai sword. Starts lopping heads off. And some guy shuts the door.
So is this an homage to Kill Bill in the 99?
It feels like Grindhouse. It kind of feels like the whole Grindhouse thing. Pascal's in one of the stories as a hitman. It looks like who they, pull him back in when he says,
"I'm done."
I'm done. And it just looks very interesting, very fun. And finally, Until Dawn, which is based on the PS game, the PlayStation game, where you have to survive the night in this cabin. And I'll tell you what, the trailer looks phenomenal. Where these kids can't figure out why they die, yet they come back to life. And every night somebody different is trying to kill them in all the most grotesque, awful ways imaginable. Looks good. Looks good.
Intriguing.
Yep. So, kind of a Happy Death Day to You meets Final Destination feel to it.
Well, there we go.
And then finally, before we get on to the books, something you and I would probably enjoy seeing when it hits streaming. It's in theaters, officially full release April the 25th. But of course, because it involves marijuana, it will have a special debut on 4/20. And that would be the documentary Cheech Chong's Last Movie. Where we take a fond look back
at all the Cheech and Chong movies.
Yes, which we all loved so much.
Oh my God!
Even the Corsican brothers.
Loved the Corsican brothers. But, come on.
Yeah, I will end up watching that, especially when it hits streaming.
Yeah, that will be intriguing.
All right, we're going back in the way back time machine in Sports Frenzy.
Back writer.
The dulcet tones of the conquistador as he sings the Beatles' Paperback Writer, which of course means it is time for Literary Frenzy, our look at the books that we read. Yes, we read books, and you barbarians should as well. That's what we do this for, is to encourage you to get out to your local library, to get out to your local bookstore, read a book once in a while. Usually they're much better than most of the crap Hollywood serves up.
Yep, read the books because they're so much better than the movies that you get that they're based on.
That being said,
I had this one for last week but pushed it off. Desolation Code, Clive Cussler's Pneumophiles, written by Graham Brown now. the latest Kurt Austin Joe Zavala adventure. They need to try and stop an egomaniac from taking over the world using his AI computer and the clones that he's developed and is trying to experiment on to connect with the computer. Bizarre tale. Weird stuff going on. They've got these interesting sea locusts, I guess is the best way to call them, that are going to be used to transport disease to mankind as they try and wipe out sea life as well.
God, this sounds like a bizarre Bond.
It is.
A Bond movie.
I mean, come on, let's face it. That's what Cussler set out to be with Dirk Pitt.
True.
And it just carries on with everything else that he does. Not bad. Some good action sequences, which you always get out of any of the Cussler stuff. Some things I went a little too far with in some respects with the AI and things. I'll give this one a week 3.
Let me ask you a question. Now, I've read the Dirk Pitt books. I gave up on them after a while when his son jumped in. I do want to try to get back into them, especially since you told me that where it looked like that series was going.
Yeah, Dirk Jr. and his sister Summer did not take over.
But now all the other offshoot series like Kurt Austin, the Fargo, right? Is another
Fargo's
one?
The couple who are treasure hunters. Those are decent.
Now, are these all present day or some of them in the past?
This takes place future. The Fargos are present. The one that's in the past are the Isaac Bell adventures.
Okay, maybe that's what I was
that's
thinking
your
of. I knew one of them was in the
early
past.
1900s detective.
There we go. Okay, that's what I needed. Clarification on that. So I knew at least one of them was in the past.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've enjoyed those, and we should be having one of those before long too. So, not bad, decent. You know what you're getting with Cussler. Far beyond rational belief. Extreme stuff.
Now you're caught up on all series with Cussler?
Yes. Yes,
See,
I am.
This is ridiculous.
Except for one. He's got the Oregon Files.
Right.
I have not... I read half of one of those and couldn't get into it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
just
I did. Okay.
That's the one that I'm just... Nope, can't do it.
Wow, okay. I did not know that. I thought you were in on all of them.
Yeah, nope, not on the Oregon Files.
Okay.
So,
who's the protagonist on that?
I couldn't even tell you. It's the ship's captain.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Nope. Have to draw a line at some point. It just didn't hook me in.
Yeah, you're a man of principle. Yeah.
Yes, I'm not. So, then, the last one I just finished up. Craig Johnson brings back Walt Longmire and Henry Standing Bear in not a Longmire mystery, but a Longmire story. Just a short 189 pages. He does these from time to time where he goes back and tells a story of what they've been through. So this one starts off with Walt and Henry talk with Lucian in the old age home. Lucian's cooking steaks for him. It's Tuesday night chess night. And so they're talking about stories and comes up about Walt being in Alaska after Vietnam, working as security for an oil company. And Henry goes up to visit him for a couple days, trying to talk him into coming back to Wyoming because Martha's missing him after everything. And One last run out to the ice. They encounter a ghost ship and one ugly, mean, killer grizzly bear, or polar bear, who likes to kill people just for the sport of it. And so Walt and Henry have to keep people alive and get back. The plane gets thrown across the ice in a storm and mass chaos ensues. But love Walt and Henry. The interplay they have with each other, so good. This one is a solid 3, borderline week 3.5.
Is this Tooth and Claw?
Yeah, Tooth and Claw is this one. So kind of an in between the Longmire mysteries, so something just to keep you interested in the characters.
But of course, Longmire, most of you will probably recognize that from the Netflix series.
Started on
A&E?
AMC, or A&E.
Was it A&E? I think it was A&E.
A&E.
Yeah. Great show. Very faithful.
Yes,
To
very
the
well
books.
cast.
Yep. So, I would love to start getting into the books. I actually have all of them sitting
You
there
just
gathering
haven't read
dust.
them yet.
They're sitting there gathering dust. I actually bought Tooth and Claw, by the way. So I have it. I've got to start reading the books.
They're actually quick reads.
Yeah, they're very thin books.
Yeah.
So obviously. But next week, hopefully, maybe,
The plan is
the latest Elvis Cole and Joe Pike novel from Robert Crace, The Big Empty, which, believe it or not, I have finished. I have actually finished a book before Dave.
Yep. I was reading Desolation Code and Tooth and Claw before I was able to actually get a hold of The Big Empty.
Yep.
So now I just finished Tooth and Claw a couple days ago as we're recording this, and I'm already about a quarter of the way through The Big Empty. So by the time we record next week, I should have it done.
Yes, it will not be, let's put it this way, it will not be sunshine and roses and flowers. As unfortunately, it looks like Robert Crace is going down keeps going down that dark
path.
road that he started with L.A. Requiem. But we'll get more detail into that when we review the book and we discuss the past and the monkey's raincoat, which started everything, and
God,
let us
light,
down.
fun-hearted tale.
Yeah, let us down. I mean, if you look at the books, I have the hardcover sitting right here, and if you look at
the actual color of the covers.
Yes, for books like Voodoo River and Sunset Express, Indigo Slam, fun-loving, kind of light, crazy, kooky, nutsy, and then L.A. Requiem, dark,
dark
and
noir.
everything after L.A. Requiem in that series has been dark and depressing, and they've put Elvis Cole and Joe Pike through the ringer.
Yeah, he's kicked their asses.
Yeah. So we will discuss, hopefully, if it doesn't happen, it'll happen in 2 weeks,
Shooting for next week.
The Big Empty. So that leads us to movies. Now, did you have any this week or no?
I kind of sort of have an offbeat story time.
Okay.
So, Saturday, Mrs. C and I decided we would go, we thought we would go down to Plymouth to hit one of the antique shops. And so we thought, all right, on the way, we're going to stop off at another small town to their little local brewery, have lunch, and then go on our way. Well, we get there and it's just the tasting room right now. They're not going to have their restaurant for another year and a half. But we found out we could order from the bar and restaurant across the street. They actually delivered it for us, which was very cool. So we're enjoying some local brew, And on TV, Greenland with Gerard Butler
Oh, wow.
was playing. We'd seen it before, but the owner hadn't seen it, and his dad was in there, and two of the other regulars that we were chatting with, and so we stayed there longer than we anticipated, but it was a great vibe to the place, and just chatting with everybody while watching Greenland, which disaster movie is the asteroid strike, and
Which they're saying could happen.
which could happen.
7 years.
Yep. So Greenland is supposedly the safe place. They have the bunkers, seed storage, and only certain people were selected to go to Greenland to help rebuild after all the devastation. Gerard Butler was selected because he's an architect. And his wife and son are supposed to go with them. Hiccup, his son's diabetic. Nobody with any medical conditions are supposed to go. They get separated, trying to find each other again, and try to make it to Greenland. Will they? You'll have to watch it to find out. It's a cheesy-ish disaster movie. It's a solid 2.5.
And they've been talking about how it picked up an audience on streaming, and now they're thinking about making a sequel.
Yeah, it's one of those almost guilty pleasure-ish type disaster movies like Dante's Peak and all those.
See, I'm not a disaster movie guy. I'm not. Usually I can find unbelievable amounts of flaws in all of them.
You just have to get by it.
Now we go back to when we were kids. We go back to the 70s.
The Towering Inferno.
Yes, I love
Earthquake, Airport 70.
Those
Airport
I love.
76,
Those
77.
I love. But when they became the Hollywood big budget cheesy
The
crap.
Poseidon Adventure.
Yeah, the first one.
Yes.
Again, a 70s classic.
Yeah.
Not the remake.
Right.
But, you know, when they got into the volcano movies, and everybody had to do a volcano movie, an asteroid, and
Yeah.
I checked out on all of that. And maybe the coup de grace, the rancid cherry on top of the cake was when we last year read Eruption.
Oh, God.
You know, I'm done. I'm done. I don't need any more disaster movies. Life is scary enough as it is. Speaking of scary, yeah, I won't say that, but...
Do you want to play a game?
Yeah, no, that's good stuff. Longlegs is another story. Now, I have been wanting to watch the movie Longlegs for months and months and months.
I wanted to watch it, and I was pissed that it just went to Hulu.
This is another example, and I've talked about this recently, where what I will do is when I finish watching a movie, maybe it's a little bit pathetic on my part, but I will go to IMDb and then I will look at the reviews afterwards, not before. I don't like spoilers. But afterwards, I will look and see if I've missed
off
something.
Base,
yes, or
am I
people
on?
agreeing with me. Do people agree with me, or did I miss something? Or are people just morons?
Yes.
Well, and this was another example of people agreed with me. Longlegs was a great hype machine. They did a wonderful job with the marketing. They tried to convince you that this was, what was it, the greatest serial killer movie. One of the quotes is, the greatest serial killer movie since Silence of the Lambs. Ha! No. This is a very odd, very weird, very idiosyncratic movie. This is Osgood Perkins. This is, of course, the son of Anthony Perkins from Psycho, who has now become the hot horror director. He has got The Monkey, which is out right now as you're listening to this, which looks much better.
The monkey looks phenomenal.
But now I don't know. Now hearing what I've heard about Longlegs, I don't know.
Was Longlegs an original
Yes.
screenplay?
Yes.
At least the monkey is based on Stephen King.
Right. The problem with Longlegs is, again, it's too artsy-fartsy. Osgood Perkins tries to... There's a lot of long pauses in scenes that get dragged out for effect. What he thinks, I'm sure, is effect. You're dealing with... In many ways, it is a ripoff of Silence of the Lambs. You're dealing with a young female FBI agent, played in this case by Micah Monroe. Let me just explain this to you. Now, most of us have seen Silence of the Lambs. Yes, Jodie Foster was a little naive as a young FBI agent investigating Hannibal Lecter. But she had strength. She had an inner strength. She was a strong female character. And even though she was a relatively naive, younger agent, you said, okay, we get it.
She'd been through some shit growing up.
Right.
And could take care of herself.
Exact same background.
Come on.
Except for the one flaw. There's no way in holy fucking hell they ever would have hired this character, Micah Monroe's character. She is so twitchy and so bizarre and so nervous. There is not a second in this movie I believe she was an FBI agent. She needed to be in a mental institution. She won't look anybody in the eye. Her responses to questions are usually very, she mumbles and doesn't really assert herself. Like, there's no way in hell she would have got past the first level of screaming for an FBI agent, let alone got elevated. And of course, she's connected to the case in a very personal way.
Of course.
And then you got Nicolas Cage as Longlegs. Okay. He's got makeup all over him, so you can't see it's him. You can kind of tell it's him. It doesn't matter because the character isn't all that interesting or engaging.
Sad.
The main plot angle of it, to explain why all these people are getting killed, is really weird. Is really, really fucking weird. And this is where it diverts away from Silence of the Lambs, in that this has got more of almost a borderline supernatural thing going on, which I guess helps it and hurts it at the same time. It explains a lot, but then you kind of go,
what the fuck? Zero sense.
Yeah, what the fuck? And not all of it gets fully explained in a rational way. You kind of have to take it on satanic faith, I guess I would say. It was definitely disappointing. It was definitely not what I was expecting. I was expecting better. And like I said, the reviews that I read agreed with me, said this was a big hype train movie where the ads made it look a lot spookier and a lot more, a lot better than it ended up being. So I am sorry to, I'm sorry to say that this does not get a recommendation from the Maestro. This gets a week 2 Frenzies.
Okay. There we go.
Very, very disappointing. In that it really didn't do it. It really didn't do it. And if somebody would like to explain the whole borderline supernatural aspect of this to me, that's fine. because I'm lost. I don't get it.
All right.
I don't want to say anything more unless you watch it. I don't want to do any spoilers.
Well, there we go. All right.
All right. Once again, just like with the sports edition this week, we skip moments of silence.
We love that. Now, who will be this week's Red Foreman Dumbass of the Week?
All right, but we got 5 this week. We're going to start off with my proposal for a new holiday in response to a dumbass holiday. That's how we're going to start things off. Because, Dave, I'm a little mad. I'm a little mad.
When aren't you a little mad?
Oh, come on, I'm an easygoing guy. We all know that. Okay, we had last Friday Valentine's Day.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe I've been living under a rock, locked up in my little shell of a house, leading my little miserable life. But I did not know until this year that the day before Valentine's Day is considered Galentine's Day.
The fuck is that?
Galentine's Day is a day where women are supposed to hang out with their best friends the night before they're stuck with their man on Valentine's Day.
This is the dumbest fucking thing I've heard of. Where's Brolentine's Day?
This is what I've come up with, Dave.
Is it the day after?
No, I have come up with a solution to Galentine's Day. So if the women get to hang out with their friends on the 13th of February before the 14th, which is Valentine's Day. So I looked around the calendar and I said, okay, let's go with July the 4th of July. Cookouts, beer, middle of summer, the day before the 4th of July, July the 3rd, from here on out, henceforth, will be known as Dude's Day. Dude's Day is July the 3rd from now on. Because if Jerry Seinfeld can come up with fucking Festivus, then damn it, we have Dude's Day. Sponsored by Sports Frenzy 2.0.
Boom.
So, the day before the 4th of July is now Dude's Day in response to the dumbass fucking holiday known as Galentine's Day. And again, I guess this has been around for years, and I did not know it until this year.
Never fucking heard of it.
Well, you know who you have heard of? Joy Behar.
Bitch from hell. Oh.
Yeah, the latest rant from Joy Behar. It's amazing to me. Somebody has not thrown this woman under a moving bus. Of course, we know that our president has been having some fun lately with renaming certain bodies of water. As he renamed the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. And of course, Joy Behar had to come out and say, well, I want to know, why is America named after a white man? Of course, that would be Amerigo Vespucci. And I'm like, don't you have anything fucking better to do than to worry about shit like this?
She's an idiot.
I just like to find shit every week to bring her into the dumbass category, because she deserves it. And
she does, and that's why she's strapped to the nose cone of the plane of doom.
She is still the number one. She is the nose cone. She is the nose cone. God damn it. Oh, I hate her so much.
She is the most evil, vile, reprehensible person.
Oh, remember when we were, a couple years ago, jealous yet pissed off about Pete Davidson? And remember how he was dating all the hot
Everybody,
women?
yeah.
Well, he recently came out. I don't know if this had to do with the Saturday Night Live and somebody just stuck a microphone in his face to get some sound bites, but asking him about dating all these hot women. Ariana Grande, Kim Kardashian, Kate Beckinsale, among many others. He said, while I was dating those women, my life was a living hell. Why? Because I'm ugly. And everybody focused on me while I was dating these women. Cry me a river, fucktard! Cry me a river! God help me. Snowflake Central.
Woe is me. My life is so rough.
I'm banging Kim Kardashian. I'm banging Kate Beckinsale. But I can't just enjoy it. You know, I've got to worry about the media's attention on me because I'm an ugly dude banging hot chicks. I hate him. I hate him so much. He's not funny.
He's not. He's a doofus.
All right. CBS. This one's kind of nasty and ugly, but I don't care. 2 times, not once but twice over the past week, CBS has chosen to focus on Germany and how they punish people and put them in jail for daring to insult other people. First off, they interviewed 3 high-ranking German officials who said that it is a crime in Germany to post anything online that's seen as an insult to another person. You can literally go to jail in Germany for this. Now, I think I mentioned last week that this shit's getting out of hand in Great Britain, too. Where...
Yeah, there's bullying, and then there's not bullying.
And then the other part of this was when they were talking to, I guess there's one CBS anchor in particular who's really like, she loves to push this issue. She had an interview with Marco Rubio, our new Secretary of State, and brought up this free speech issue and told him, well, you do realize that free speech unchecked is what led to the Holocaust.
What?
Yes. Yes, and Marco Rubio basically had to rip her a new one.
What?
And
Twit.
Yes, she said...
Oh, my God.
And this was actually the same reporter,
my God.
the same anchor who I mentioned speaking to the 3 German bigwigs. She said that Hitler took control because free speech did not get regulated in Nazi Germany.
Free speech was abolished in Nazi Germany.
I think that's what Marco Rubio told her.
Stupid twit, learn your history.
So just remember this, kids. Just remember Sports Frenzy pointed out these dumbasses at CBS.
Free speech rules. As soon as you are silenced, there is a problem.
So we'll end things on a lighter note. Okay. Don't want to end on the serious stuff like that. So let's focus on, there's an Austrian businessman. An Austrian businessman, maybe some would call him a supervillain, an Austrian supervillain, who has filed what they call cancellation actions on multiple trademarks involving James Bond.
Is this Mr. Blofeld?
Ernst Stavro Blofeld? No. This is another Austrian businessman who is trying to put together on man-made islands in Dubai $6 billion worth of investment. He wants to create this Bondian paradise.
Okay.
But he supposedly can't use the name. Although he thinks he found a loophole. Supposedly there is a law in the EU, the European Union, that says that if a trademark has not been used in 5 years, you can file a cancellation action and grab control of it. And this is what this guy is trying to do. He thinks he somehow can now grab the trademark to James Bond and turn these islands into a James Bond-like compound. Become a massive, world-renowned tourist attraction. And of course, everybody's flipping out going, what the hell are you talking about with this loophole? Wouldn't you have thought that so many other trademarks would have been grabbed and canceled and taken over by now? And many of the people, the comments I saw, said this is what happens when you've got $6 billion and you're bored.
Yeah, somebody's a fucking idiot.
Yeah. Just because you have money doesn't mean you're smart.
Exactly. Oh my God.
So we've got CBS for claiming that Germany knows how to handle things when it comes to free speech, past and present. The Austrian businessman who wants to claim the James Bond trademark, even though he really probably doesn't have any grounds to. Pete Davidson for saying banging hot chicks made his life a living hell. Galentine's Day. And our response, Dude's Day.
Or Joy Behar.
Yes.
Ooh.
Who's got nothing better to do with her life than to wonder why America
Hates
is
her.
named after a white man. I leave it up to you, Dave. I leave it in your capable hands.
It's always Joy Behar, except when some twit from CBS spouts something stupid.
Yeah. Free speech led to the Holocaust.
That's got to be it for me this week.
I gotta go Pete Davidson. I just can't stand him. And his whining and crying about, oh my God, my life is so
rough.
Oh my God, you know how many guys out there would literally kill a human being to sleep with Kim Kardashian or Kate Beckinsale? My hands up! My hands raised!
Both of them.
Yeah, all three of them. Third leg is up too. Come on. Good Lord. But yeah, the whole CBS thing, I mean, I do try to avoid bringing all the negative stuff in, but when it's so egregious.
Just so horribly dumb.
You guys can do the research. I can't get into the details on it that you could by looking it up online, but it is factual that this twit and CBS who just obsesses about this stuff,
Free
asking
speech.
Marco Rubio if he understood that free speech led to the Holocaust is just mind-boggling to me. You can look it up. I am not lying. I do not lie to you. Your Uncle Kev does not lie to you.
My brain hurts.
Well, it's a good thing we're done then.
Yes, it is.
Next week, we've mentioned Nosferatu, Reacher Season 3.
We did not tell the kids that next week is the first episode of Cassette Classics.
Yes, we are finally instituting Cassette Classics. We discussed it last week with you guys. Next week will be Hanoi Rocks, your Uncle Dave's first choice.
Yep, 2 Steps from the Move.
Which is the last album they put out before the tragic death of Razzle. The whole deal with Vince Neil driving drunk.
In the car accident that
some people,
took Razzle,
including us, will probably still say that Vince Neil got off light.
He got way off light.
So, but cassette classics, the whole point of it is to revisit old music from the 70s, the 80s, the early 90s that we didn't give a fair enough shot to, or that you guys probably haven't heard of. So next week we will do Hanoi Rocks for our featured music review. Because again, nobody's putting out new music. So what the hell else are we supposed to do?
Few and far between, so we're gonna make the best of it, damn it.
That's right. So we got that for you in music next week, and of course we've already mentioned everything else in movies and TV and streaming. So with that being said, say goodnight to the kids, Uncle Dave.
Say goodnight to the kids, Uncle Dave.